And India and EU are looking at finalizing the mother of all deals and a historic trade deal that will come into fruition possibly on 27th of January as EU Commissioner arrives in the national capital as a chief guest for India's Republic Day. Now, India and the European Union are on the verge of sealing what's being called the mother of all trade deals, a historic India-EU trade deal. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen is in India. She will be the chief guest for Republic Day 2026. And it is during this time that India and EU are expected to sign a landmark free trade agreement at India-EU summit, which is slated for 27th of January, a day after India's Republic Day. So why does this deal matter? And why is the world watching? Because this deal brings together nearly 2 billion people and almost a quarter of the global economy. The India-UA FTA is not just about goods. It covers goods, but it also covers services, investments, digital trade, supply chains, making it one of the most comprehensive trade agreements India has ever signed. Negotiations dragged on for years. They were stalled over tariff, agriculture, and regulatory standards. The fact is, the deal is finally ready, and it tells you one thing. Both sides, that is India and the 27-member bloc EU, think that it is a strategic urgency to make it happen. And look at the economic scale of the deal. The EU is already India's largest trading partner, with bilateral goods trade crossing $136 billion in financial year 24-25. This agreement aims to supercharge that number, in fact, double that number. For India, the biggest immediate win is tariff elimination. Duties of 12 to 16% on textiles, along with tariffs on pharmaceuticals, electronics, gems and jewellery, leather and auto components will be phased out, giving Indian exporters a major edge in the European market. For the EU, the prize is better access to India's fast-growing consumer and services market, especially for machinery, chemicals, aircraft, high-value wines, diamonds, and professional services. But there's also a sector that has been deliberately left out, and that is agriculture. Sensitive sectors like dairy, rice, spices, poultry, and agriculture are excluded. India wants to protect millions who are dependent on farm livelihoods, and the EU has strict sanitary rules, so both sides chose pragmatism over confrontation. And that's important because, remember, agriculture has been a bone of contention in the India-US trade deal. So where India stands to gain big with EU trade deal is services, tech and digital trade. And the FTA liberalizes also telecom, finance, e-commerce and digital trade, which offers a smoother runaway for Indian IT and services firms which are operating in Europe, and for European tech companies to enter into India more smoothly now. There's also a strong push for investment facilitation. The EU has already invested over $117 billion in India since 2000. But there's also a larger strategic subtext. This deal is not just economic, it's geopolitical. For India, it helps reduce dependence on China, diversify supply chains, and hedge against rising US protectionism and tariff threats. For the EU, India emerges as a reliable Indo-Pacific trade partner, crucial at a time when global trade is fragmenting. So here's the big picture. In an era of trade wars, tariffs and shrinking globalization, the India-EU FTA sends a counter signal that two large democracies are betting on rules-based trade, strategic trust and long-term economic alignment. The India-EU trade deal may well mark India's biggest trade diplomacy moment in decades.